Good morning. I hope everyone had a Merry Christmas, having a happy holiday season, and happy Kwanzaa to everyone today as well. Well, we are here for our final segment of Beyond Boundaries for 2018. And I'm so excited because I got a lot of, well, I shouldn't say a lot. I got a few requests of what the show should be about. And I took all of those recommendations and suggestions into consideration. Some of them were share your favorite things, share your favorite gifts. And as I thought about that, it was kind of funny because I don't really have a favorite things list. And there's a story behind that I'll share with you this morning. But what I realized in and trying to figure out like what would be those things that I would share as my favorite things. It stems back from probably as far back as I can remember in my childhood. I never had a favorite things list. I never really asked for a lot of things. And a part of that was because I watched my parents work really hard to make Christmas really fun for my brothers, for me and my brothers, and I just learned to not ask for a lot of things. And so in 2018, I looked at, what could I share with you that were my favorite things? And what I decided to share was just the power that I found in regifting, right? And so maybe not regifting in the way that you're thinking, but 2018 regifted me many things. And so I'm going to share with you some of my favorite things in a not so conventional way. So in 2018, like I said, I got a lot of rewrapped gifts. And one of them that I regifted myself was owning my desires. And that was so amazing for me because there's a question that I ask every single client, every single executive, every team that I work with. I ask them a very, very simple question. And our work together, our journey together begins with the question, what do you want? And I can tell you when I ask that question, whether it's a 6'4" man or a small frame woman or a powerful CEO of a organization that's known in many households, I often get tears. And the tears are then followed by, I don't know. I don't really know what I want for me. And sometimes the responses are, what they want for everyone else and what they believe everyone else could have if they did things in a certain way in their life, in their business, or whatever their impact scope would be. And for me, that question is so powerful because I think that when we can tap into what we really want, we truly do. We get wings to just soar. And so I decided that, I always say I can only take people as deep as I'm willing to go myself. And so about 2 years ago, I'm really excited. I decided that I wanted to be full-time in my firm. And so I decided to do that. And I was reminded of that decision a couple days ago at a Christmas party where someone that I worked very closely with said to me, I'm so proud of you. You had the courage to kind of step out and do this. And I said to her, there are many days that I was really scared, but I knew that I had reached this fork in the road where I had to make a decision. Am I going to continue on a path that I know I can, I can definitely follow and achieve success the way that, it looks very easy to do or just laid out to do, not necessarily easy. Or I can go out and create something that I've never seen before. And I chose that path to create something I'd never seen before. And so the last 2 years have been really, really interesting for me because I've learned a lot of lessons, even in areas that I thought I really, had gotten an A. No, I didn't. So I had to repeat some of those things. And one of the things I got as a gift in 2018 was the regifting of asking myself and owning, what do you want? So I started with that question early on in the year, and it was a difficult question for me. And I then understood more than I ever had before why I get the tears, why I get, this burst of passion and desire that people, when asked that question and given an opportunity to truly answer it, why they respond the way that they do. And I'll be very transparent with you. I didn't really know how to answer that question for me on this next level. I knew that there were things that I wanted and I had gone out to get them and, achieve them. But when I really sat with myself and I asked the question, what do you want? It was an interesting experience for me. And as I continued to delve deeper in the year and I kept asking myself, what do you want? What do you want? I realized that a lot of the things that I really wanted, or a lot of what I really wanted, it really could be summed up into one word: and that's just freedom, right? It was me having more freedom. And it's very, very broad and very, very abstract for many, but it was just the freedom to be able to choose. And, with today being the first day of Kwanzaa, Kujijakalia, self determination, to define for ourselves and create for ourselves and speak for ourselves, that for me was what I really wanted in a way that I never allowed myself, notice I said allowed myself to have before. And so as I started to think about what caused me to suppress these desires and these things that I wanted, it really went back to my childhood, like just wanting to be this person that, thinks of everyone else, gives to everyone else, and not wanting it to be too much, too expensive, too big, or I was too female or too, whatever, young, too black, too poor, too you fill in the blank. Those twos that can really hold us back from what it is that we really want. And so as I delve deeper into what I really want and how I really want to experience those things, it led me to another gift. It led me to the gift of kindness, really being kind to myself. And, as someone that's a high achiever and is known for just really wanting to get things done and take action, kindness was something that I had kind of, masked along the way, where if I'm not cruel to myself, but when I'm really looking you in the eyes right now and telling you the truth, I really wasn't being quite kind to myself either. So I kind of let go the grips of, or allow myself to be taken out of the grips of perfectionist attitudes and perfectionism, if you will, and just decided that no, I'm not going to slack off, but I am going to be much more kind to myself. And in that gift of kindness, I realized that, there were many things that I was not allowing myself to have, which stems back to desires, because I wasn't being kind enough to myself to know that, one, I wanted it, I deserved it, and I didn't need to explain it. I saw many posts over the last couple of days on social media, and people explaining and justifying why they deserve to have things or why they wanted to have things. And that was something that I told myself I wasn't going to do. I wasn't going to explain why I wanted something, why I didn't want something, or why I had something, because I found that that was a pattern for me. Like if I have something, then I've got to explain or not make someone else feel like because they don't want it, they don't have it, then that makes me not kind or not giving, and that couldn't be any further, from the truth. One of the things that brought that to my attention was this past May was my birthday, and one of my friends said to me, I know what we're going to get you for your birthday. And so, I like surprises, but I don't really like surprises. So, of course, I asked what it was. And she says, I'm going to get you a driver. And I looked at her and I'm like, no, why would you ever do that? Don't do that. And she says, well, why would that? Everyone knows you hate driving, or everyone knows that you drive really slowly. And if you're laughing at this, that's not funny, because I am the best driver most of you've ever known. Even I have to laugh because I really do hate driving. And here was a gift that someone wanted to give to me because it was a desire that I wasn't owning, or one that I wasn't even in tune to. And I didn't want her to give it to me not because I didn't want the driver, but because I didn't want to have to deal with or think about what people would say. Well, why would you have a driver? You could be doing this or doing that. But those were all things in my mind because I was suppressing what I really wanted. And I'd created this story as to why I couldn't have it or why I shouldn't have it. And so, that was a telltale for me that I really needed to think about, what is really deep down within that I want, right? And so that's what I told you when I got started. It started with freedom, the freedom from having to get behind a wheel of a car and drive and just be able to go and do what it is that I need to do and not worry about, okay, will I get there safely, or do I have to deal with I-95 traffic, or whatever, those things are that comes with driving in traffic in South Florida. And so it was that gift of kindness, being more kind to myself and realizing that if I want an experience or if I desire an experience, it's okay to have it, and it doesn't have to come on the heels of me sharing with someone else to justify that, I have this, so maybe I should do that. And that was really big for me because I know that many people I have conversations with, and they are givers. But when I think about all of the giving that is done, how much of that giving is really being done um, for ourselves, by ourselves, to ourselves? And for me, that was a big thing, guys, because I realized I wasn't doing that, and I wasn't, and that's false integrity, right? So, and that's false humility, I guess I should say. Also, because it's not that I gave myself the means to have these things, or I didn't give myself these desires. They came from God for me. And so for me to not own them, or not explore them, or not share them, that I thought was pretty selfish. So the kindness part was really big for me, and in other ways as well. One of the things I love to do is relax. And I was just talking with the producer of the segment before we got started, and mine is, relaxation at the spa. And so I gave that to myself every week. I did something to relax and rejuvenate myself, because I spend a lot of time, using my brain for work, and it's exhausting. Sometimes, thinking things through with other people, being a thought partner for executives, and creating strategies that really move organizations, and help people really be the best and share the best of who they are, that can be exhausting. And so this is something that I decided I would do for myself every week, and I was not going to apologize for it. And that disclaimer really was for me, because in the beginning, I thought of all the things I could be doing with that time. And what I realized was, the more I gave to myself, the more I was able to do and give to others. And again, like I said, these aren't new lessons for me. These were regifts. And so I'm so thankful for them, because they're things that I do believe in, and they're things that I share all the time with other people. But what I realized was I needed to go deeper in my own beliefs for myself. And so, just being really transparent about that, there is no peak. There are peak moments. And for me, it was realizing that all of these things that allow me to be and share and give and do, I needed to refill my own cup, if you will. And so that was another really meaningful and valuable gift that I regifted myself this year. And the last one that I'm going to share with you, that, I mean, there are many more I could share, but there's one more that I really want to share. Maybe about 2 years ago, I read Shonda Rhimes' book, the Year of Yes. And that book was really amazing. She talked about so many things, but the biggest lesson that I got from that book was her life opened up when she started to say yes to her. Well, that wasn't my gift. The yes was not my gift to me, and my regift to me in 2018. It was the gift of no. So, unlike Shonda, I would say yes to everything and everyone and every ask of me. And for me, it was just exhausting. And me saying yes to all of these things really didn't allow me, again, to say yes to some of the things that really mattered to me. So I decided to give myself, or regift myself, the gift of being able and having the power to say no. And what I realized on a deeper level was, when I said no to things that really either didn't align with my values, or I just wasn't interested in them, I opened up so many opportunities for me to say yes to things that really mattered to me. And so that was probably the most powerful gift that I gave myself last year. And it was a regift, but boy, was I ever excited to unpack that one, because I started to set new boundaries and reestablish boundaries in my life, and in my business also. It was really big in my business, because, coming out of an organization where you were, the director of learning or the chief learning officer, and so I had a scope for everything. Scaling my business was important, but also being able to figure out what things I really loved and what things in the business I did really well, because I couldn't say yes to everything. I mean, I don't have this 15, 16 person team supporting me anymore. And so how do I scale it for, the size of the team I have, and also the desires that I have in the work that I do? What are those things that I did because I had to do them, or they were a part of the larger scope of my job, and I don't even have a desire to do them anymore? Uh, so I had to learn, to say no to some of those things. I also had to make some decisions. I got some really I call them lessons, investments. They were a little, costly in terms of some decisions I made. But when I really think about those decisions, and some were hiring decisions, some were business decisions that didn't yield the results that I wanted, I went back to what I often tell my clients: you've got to start with a clear vision, right? Because you can be doing a lot of great things, which is your mission, and you're going to get results, but are those results going to look like what it is you want it to see, as a result of the work that you were putting in? And my answer to a lot of that was no, because I wasn't clear. And it wasn't necessarily that I wasn't clear about my vision. I wasn't clear about my, what I needed to say no to, what I needed to speak up for, what I didn't want, that it wasn't just about helping other people, but it was always about what the business needed and what was in the right fashion and right movement for where my firm is going. And so that was a really big one for me as well. And again, none of those decisions am I bitter about them, am I resentful. I say that whatever came out of that, I bless those opportunities, those people, and I know that that lesson was for all of our highest good. And, I'm thankful that I am able to absorb those lessons in a way that they don't feel like a loss, but they feel more like learning and more like an opportunity to continue to grow. So yeah, no was so powerful for me, because that was a word that I don't like to say it. Let's just be honest. Even if I were to tell you I didn't like to say it, that would mean that I have, I've overcome that to the point where it's something that I don't have as a challenge. But it's not true. I don't like to say no, and that comes from my deep desire to help people and to support people. But what I've realized is, by saying yes to things that, again, don't really align with who I am and what I want and why I'm supposed to be doing what I'm doing, then it blocks other opportunities for me to say yes to things that I really need to say yes to. So as you think about 2018, I want to leave you with a question. What were your gifts? What were the gifts that 2018 gave you? How are you making meaning of those gifts? And what will they mean for you as you spring forward into 2019? For me, I'm not one for New Year's resolutions, but I am one for making commitments, and I usually determine what it is that I want to focus on, or what's going to be my thing that keeps me anchored. And for 2019, I decided it's going to be sharing more of not just things that are tangible, but sharing more of myself and my story, because I think there is my power to be able to reach people in ways that we don't often know that they need to be reached. Because the biggest gift that I can give, or I like to receive, is love. And that I got so much more of this year because of me being open and me accepting the regifting of, me owning my desires, being kind to myself, and being able to say no. So I love all of you for watching this year, for tuning in. It's been an amazing journey, this 2018 on Beyond Boundaries. And I've grown in ways that I can't even begin to explain to you. And I'm so thankful for, again, each of your messages, your emails, people that have written in to talk about how certain topics on the show were impactful for you, how they were helpful for you. And I want you to tune in for 2019, because there's going to be so much more of that. We're thinking through like who those guests are going to be, but more importantly, just me being able to share more of some of the things that I think we as a society, as a community, as people, as just human beings, one to another, need to share and be able to embrace with each other. So I hope you had an amazing 2018. I wish you all the best, and I look forward to you tuning in next year. Thank you.